Mortal Kombat was dope for what it was. All right. Welcome back, Student of the Game Podcast. I'm your host, Tavares. Thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day by giving my podcast a listen. All right. I stand by what I said. Mortal Kombat was dope for what it was. All right. So to understand for what it was, you have to understand what it is. All right. Okay. It's the third movie that's been released in movie theaters for the franchise. I'm not even sure if the second one, Annihilation, was released in the movie theater, but after you see it, you can clearly tell that movie should not have been released in the movie theaters, okay? But anyways, let's get back to Mortal Kombat 2021. This movie was dope for what it was, all right? Now, here's what it is, all right? My approach, looking at this movie, the only thing I cared about was which characters they was going to have in there and the fight scenes. Okay, the fight scenes were... I like the fight scenes. The fight scenes were pretty cool. They were very, very cool. All right. It's one of those things. It's like this movie here. I'm not going to grade it hard on dialogue because who's looking for dialogue in a Mortal Kombat movie? Now, if this was a Martin Scorsese movie or a Quentin Tarantino movie or a Spike Lee movie, okay, then I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the dialogue. You understand? But movies like this, listen. I'm all about that action, boss, in the words of the great Marshawn Lynch, a.k.a. Beast Mode, because he'll stiff arm you. Boom. But anyways, that's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, let's say if you had a bunch of professional football players. Okay, let's say you had a bunch of professional football players playing basketball. All right? Now, their strength is playing football. But you're expecting them to go out there and jump high like LeBron James and shoot like Kevin Durant or Steph Curry or have a wicked handle like Kyrie Irving or James Harden. Okay? You're going to expect that from Tom Brady? No. Okay, so you grade it for what it is. You get what I'm saying? So this movie here, the dialogue, I could care less about the dialogue because any fictional movie or a movie that's based off a video game, guess what? If we're going to be questioning the dialogue or this didn't make sense and all that, guess what? What's the point of even watching it? It's fiction. None of it, most of it is not gonna make sense. Do you understand? All right, you follow what I'm saying here, people. Okay, so this movie here, I was looking for the fight scenes, and let me tell you something. Here's what I was upset, the fact that I felt like we needed more fighting. I felt like the movie should have been all fighting, just a long fighting tournament. We didn't get that, but we got a good amount fighting because you got to think about, okay, it was, in order to do a lot of awesome fight scenes, you need good choreography, and guess what? When you're good at something, you charge for it. So guess what? They didn't have a big budget for this movie, all right? But they did make enough money to get greenlit for a sequel. So whenever the sequel comes, I expect it to be a lot better than this one. What I mean by better, meaning there should be more action. You follow what I'm saying? But this movie here, you had a lot of characters. My only disappointment as far as with the characters, we did not get to see Johnny Cage. Well, we saw like a little cameo poster. We got to see his lower extremities and the name that it says Johnny Cage. But outside of that, man, I was looking forward to Johnny Cage. You had this new character named Cole. Who the hell is Cole? I don't know Cole. I know Cole from Martin. I know about Coleslaw. You know what I'm saying? Funky Cole Medina. I know about that, but who is Cole? You know, I'm just one like, and see, to me, like, I have no problem when movies, when they create new characters and stuff. You know, for example, let's take the Resident Evil franchise. The character Alice, that's a brand new character, but guess what? Her character is very interesting. Okay, they made Alice pretty dope. All right, but Cole, I felt like they could have gave Cole lines to Liu Kang. All right, I'm a big Liu Kang fan. You know, so that's why I'm like, man, they could have gave a lot of his lines to him, you know, or we could have had more Scorpio lines, Sub-Zero lines. Kano was awesome. The guy who played Kano, Josh Lawson, that dude there, man, listen, I would not be surprised a few years from now we see him in a Marvel or a DC movie or some type of streaming series about him, because this dude here is awesome. Not about Kano, but the guy who plays him. But he kept the movie interesting whenever they were not fighting. So I appreciate that. That's cool. I got no problem with that. But let's see, Louis Tan, the guy, the young man who plays who plays Cole. I mean, I get it. You're a descendant of Scorpion, and that's cool. I like Scorpio, but uh, man, like I just felt. I mean, his character, Cole's character, was not that awesome to me to be stealing screen time from Liu Kang, Jax, Sonya Blade, and the other characters. Because in the whole Mortal Kombat lore, we have a lot of awesome characters, and we become familiar with those characters' backgrounds by playing the video game. All right, we get a little backstory about all of them on each as we play each Mortal Kombat game. Okay, but man, but you know, at the end, by the time the movie ended, okay, I'm okay with Cole. I just hope that the next Mortal Kombat movie that it's not mainly about him. I have no problem with him being a good supporting character, but it can't just be about him. Maybe the next one be mainly about Johnny Cage. Who knows? But the fight scenes was awesome. The whole part where it was on how they got their powers, I thought that was cool because it goes to show, hey man, you have to do certain things to unlock it. So it's almost equivalent to like if you're playing a video game, you have to get past certain levels, in order to get a certain power. Okay, so and you saw Kano, he. Well, hold up. Who was it? Which one was it? Who was it? You know what? You take Cole's character, for example. You had to keep beating him down and stuff. He had to take a lot of punishment and get beaten down until he finally was able to unleash his power. All right, and we saw the same thing with Kano, with Sonya Blade, with Jax. Oh man, Jax, bless his heart, he was walking around with these little chicken leg metal arms. Okay, they was very, very thin. If Johnny Bravo's legs were arms, go look at Jax's arms. This was after Jax, oh man, the way Sub-Zero ripped his arms off. That's one of those scenes. You know how most of the time when you see a dope scene in a trailer, and then by the time, you've seen the scene in the trailer so many times, it's way past the you never see it coming part by the time you see the movie. So by the time you see the movie, you're kind of numb to it. It's not as funny as it was when you first saw it in the trailer, or it wasn't as awesome as it was when you first saw it in the trailer. Well, that's how it was. Well, it was not like that when Sub-Zero ripped Jack's arms off. Because when me and my wife was watching the movie, we was like, oh man, it's about to happen. It's about to happen anytime. And when he ripped his arms off, my mouth just dropped. I'm like, oh, because I'm like, golly, man, I felt bad for Jax. But of course, we know Jax eventually gets the metal arms, okay, the vibranium arms on both. Bucky only got one, but when he first got them, they were small, and I'm like, I'm not feeling this. He'll do better with his regular arms. But eventually, he had to get to a point where, in order for him to unlock it, he had to get to a certain part in a fight, as far as, I think it's a matter of showing more bravery or being more secure with yourself, because at first he wasn't feeling it. He was in a funk. He wasn't in his right mind, in his right self. Okay. But once he got his groove back, like Stella, I mean, bam, the metal arms got bigger, and now he looks like the Jax from the video game. All right, so I like that, and he dished out a couple fatalities that was incredible. The fatality scenes were awesome, man. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the special effects is kind of similar to, we're in 2021, and some of the special effects is kind of equivalent to something that took place in the mid 90s, or something that you would see like on like the shows that come on the CW or Sci-Fi Channel. But here's the thing, it's cool. That's why I say the movie is dope for what it was. Like a lot of people, they was expecting some John Wick type stuff, some Matrix type stuff and all that, and that's cool, fine and dandy. But guess what? You have to realize the franchise that you're dealing with right now, Mortal Kombat franchise. And the thing about it is, the studio probably was kind of reluctant to invest more money than they would like to in this movie, because it's been almost 20 years since someone was like, man, that Mortal Kombat movie was dope, and that's the fault of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like, it's one thing to See, a lot of times with sequels, they tend to bring you more action or more laughter or whatever it was from the original. Okay, but when they did Annihilation, man, they literally annihilated themselves. You know, like from making any other Mortal Kombat movies being released in the movie theaters. Okay, so this movie right here, man, listen, you have to take it for what it is. All right. Now, I assume that the next one that they make is going to have a higher budget because guess what? You got a lot of people who are fans of this movie. I am one of them. I like the movie. Okay. And I will watch it again before it leaves HBO Max. The movie is real good. Okay. For what it is. All right. You can't compare this movie to like the Avengers Endgame or any Marvel or any DC movie because expectations are even higher for those films. Okay, now Mortal Kombat, listen, the root of Mortal Kombat is fighting if you play the video games. All right, and a lot of people who watched the movie hadn't played the video games in years or maybe even decades. All right, but I like the movie. Liu Kang. Now, see, the Liu Kang in this movie. See, here's why I'm even more upset why we didn't get enough Liu Kang because the actor who was playing Liu Kang. Oh man, I thought he did an awesome job. His name is Ludi Lin. He did a brilliant job as Liu Kang. And here's the thing: at first, when he had his shirt on and stuff, I'm like, man, Liu Kang is kind of small. But then all of a sudden, this little dude take his shirt off and he just like ripped and stuff. Looked like he fresh off P90X. You know what I'm saying? The poster man looked like he's the poster boy for the P90X videos. And I'm like, wow, okay. And I'm like, and the dude can fight. The dude has some good acting chops and stuff and good fighting some good fighting scenes and stuff. I'm messing that word up or whatever. And I'm like, what? Man, why couldn't we get more of him? You know, Louis Tan, they could have made him Liu Kang or some other character or something, but that's my only pet peeve on this movie is that you brought in a character that we're not familiar with and he's still in. They're just like, hey, all right, you got LeBron James in your lineup. You got LeBron James, James Harden, Kevin Durant in your lineup, right? They say you're playing 3-on-3. And they put LeBron James on the bench for me. Have me starting. Now, here's the thing. I can play basketball, but of course, I'm not no LeBron James. If I was LeBron James, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. Well, maybe I would, but guess what? You know what? My bread and butter would be from my NBA checks and shoe deals and Space Jam Legacy and stuff like that, right? But, you know, oh, man. You know, but Sonya Blade was awesome. I liked her. I was a big fan of Bridget Wilson's Sonya Blade in the first one, so I was kind of biased on how I was judging Sonya at first, but the actress, the young lady who played her, she was incredible. She was incredible. You know what? Instead of just saying actress, I need to stop being lazy because I have the information up here. Let's see. Of the young lady who played Sonya Blade, and she did a good job. Mehcad Brooks, he starred as Jax. He did a real good job as well. For those of you who aren't familiar with Mehcad Brooks, he played in. He starred in a couple seasons of the show The Game, and he was in that show called Boston Public. So he's a pretty good actor, and he's also in the Supergirl series. Okay, he's Jimmy Olsen? Yeah, but Sonya Blade is played by Jessica McNamee. She's a good actress. I thought she did a good job. All right. Raiden, I thought Raiden was pretty cool. I still like the acting chops of Christopher Lambert as Raiden in the first one. But this one here, the guy who played Raiden in this one here, his name is. Let me see. This young man name is Tabanobu Asano. He was real good, man. The dude, you know, as far as like during the fight scenes and the action sequences. Okay. The people who stood out the most though, I think who were the big stars, like I say, as far as like overall, is Scorpio and Sub-Zero. Their whole storyline was phenomenal. Their fight scenes together, I think, were the best. That was the best thing out of this from the beginning of their fight scene and all the way to the end. Those were my favorite fight scenes, even though they had a lot of good fight scenes in this movie. Okay, we didn't get a traditional tournament because in this movie, Shang Tsung was trying to pretty much eliminate the competition before the game even started. That's why I'm like, dang, bro, you don't have that much confidence in your squad, huh? All right, I feel you, but I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked it for what it was, man, and it was dope. So on a scale of 1 to 10, hey man, I'm gonna give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. Okay, so I'm great. Of course, I'm grading it on a different scale. All right, but tell me, what was your favorite part of the Mortal Kombat movie? Did you like it? And did you not like it? If you did not like it, please share your thoughts below in the comments. All right, and please hit that like button. And if you like what you're hearing and what I'm talking about, hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in, student of the game. Oh, also be sure to check out my podcast on Anchor, on Spotify, and on iTunes, on Apple, and on Google. Okay. And the name of the podcast is called the Student of the Game Podcast. I'm your host, Tavares. Thank y'all for listening. Student of the Game Podcast. Peace out.